Okay, so welcome to Playtime Interval
Thank you.
Interviews, Rachel. Where are you in the world?
I'm in Bishopbriggs in Glasgow right now in my
Okay,
house.
and where are you from originally?
I'm from here. I'm literally in my childhood bedroom
Oh,
in the house
great.
that I grew
Okay,
up in. Yeah.
so what I gen now? Are you still at the RCS, or have you finished at the
No,
RCS?
I graduated about 2 years ago.
Okay,
So
and
yeah,
so you're 2 years into the real world, so to speak.
yes.
And how's that going?
It's been going okay. It's a different lifestyle than being a student, definitely. And I've been doing like a lot of different things. Like I've been doing a little this one thing for a couple of months and then move on to another thing for a couple of months, So it's not very stable,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
So how did you get into jazz originally? What was your pathway into it?
Well, I started playing music when I was quite young. I started playing the flute through school when I was really young, and then I think I picked up the saxophone when I was like a teenager, and then I joined the Eastern Bartonshire Schools jazz band,
Okay, cool.
and that's run by a man called Stuart Carson.
Okay.
If you know, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Like I got into jazz from that.
And how did you get
um,
was it straightforward getting saxophone lessons and getting hold of a saxophone?
yeah, pretty much. Like this, my school was really good for that. Just like having a lot of different resources and instruments that you can just have and take home, and the teachers were all brilliant.
Cool. And were you exposed to jazz at home?
Um, Not really at home, although my grandparents were big into jazz. Not like more modern jazz, but they were really into like Sinatra and like the bassy band stuff like
Okay,
that. So like a lot of swing. So I guess
great.
there was a influence there.
And so you were doing the big band, and what? Because I used to run Nijos with
Oh yeah.
Laura McDonald, and at that point, it was generally 50-50 up until gender split up until about 15, 16. This was like 10 or so, 12 years ago when I was doing it. And then it was generally 90%, 95% boys that went on
Yeah.
to study jazz. And I'm interested in that bit when somebody decides to go and study jazz. And how did that happen for you? What was the triggers for you to do that?
I think, I mean, honestly, it was probably realizing that I wasn't good at anything else, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do music. But it definitely did feel like something I had to do. Like I knew that there wasn't anything else for me in the world that I could have possibly done.
It was your destiny sort of thing.
Yeah,
And was that
yeah,
based
yeah.
was that based on how much you enjoyed doing it, or was it a kind of like that's I want to go there, sort of seeing a place you wanted to get to in the future?
Yeah, I think so, but I've never really had like a set plan of like, oh, this is where I want to be in 10 years, so or such so on. But I do find it hard to visualize where my future is going to go and where I'm going to end up. So I think it just felt like a sort of thing in the moment that well, I obviously at the time I knew that I wanted my career to be in music and I
Right.
wanted to be playing music full time, and that obviously seemed like the best option to go to RCS.
Yeah. Cool. And how did you find studying there?
I really enjoyed it. I loved the people, loved the teachers, had so much fun, and I learned a lot. And I think it was really good. It was great for building my individuality. I think because obviously you're in a small group of in your year group. There's only like seven of us or something, and everybody has their own style and their own like hero and their own way of playing. So
Yeah.
it's really cool to listen to people and think, all right, so you listen to Coltrane, you love Coltrane, and you love Dexter or something, like you can tell,
And who did you
which
love?
is really cool. Oh, Dexter, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was just like my absolute hero for saxophone playing.
And when did you get into Dexter? That I mean, because that's a really interesting choice. But yeah, when did you get into Dexter?
Yeah. Probably about when I picked up the saxophone. Like, I
Right.
think he was one of the first saxophone players that I transcribed, and
Okay.
I just did like a lot of Dexter transcriptions and realized that I just really loved all his phrases. and it's sound. It's big, massive sound. Like it's so great.
Wow. Okay, that's very interesting because I always think that transcription is a transformative process. It sort of changes your brain. I transcribed a lot of Tony Williams and Alvin Jones and but then you see these books of transcriptions that people can buy.
Yeah.
But did you do it from the record?
Yeah, I like doing it by ear.
Yeah, because I think buying the book is just missing out on the most important bit, which is listening to it and kind of. Okay, cool.
I love the sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just like the whole internalizing it and being able to sing it part is so important for me. Like I feel like if you can't sing something, then you can't play it.
Yeah.
So that was definitely like a transformative thing for me to learn. Like, okay, if I learn how to sing this line, then I'm going to be able to play it. That felt like a massive jump forward, like a door had been unlocked in my brain or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's an educational program in the States, but I think they're trying out in Jazz North where they're getting young kids to learn jazz solos to sing them from memory, as a way of getting them into jazz, which sounds like a cool way of doing it.
Yeah.
There's this guy called I think his name's Erling Axtell, who teaches at Trondheim, and he did this talk at the Scottish Jazz Education Conference a few years ago, and he had this video of I think it was someone like Jan Gabarek singing a Coltrane solo when he was about 15 or 16 or something like that. Just sort of the belief that this thing when you really sort of internalize a piece of jazz like that at that age, it's a massive deal.
Mm-hmm. Because if you start doing that, then you can almost like predict where things are going to go. Like sometimes I'll hear myself like listening to a jazz solo, and I'll, based on like if you hear what the chord progression is, like sometimes you can even predict like what the solo's going to do.
Yeah.
Like I find that sometimes, and I just think, like I do it unconsciously, but then sometimes I just like I do it and I think, oh wow, like that's such a weird thing that you don't think about, but your brain just does it automatically.
Yeah. And have you transcribed anybody else other than Dexter?
Yeah, I've done. I like to transcribe a bit of Chris Potter.
Okay.
And Brecker, and quite difficult ones, like trying to get my altissimo a bit better.
You what?
And I like my altissimo, like my high.
Yeah.
And I love transcribing vocalists. I think it was an Ella solo was the first ever solo I transcribed on the sax. It was Ella on All of Me.
Okay.
That was like the first ever solo I transcribed. And I like transcribing like modern vocalists like Jasmine Horn. I love transcribing her solos, and Veronica Swift. She's got some great solos that I've transcribed. But yeah, I actually really enjoy even like Chet, and I love transcribing vocalists. I feel like it really benefits my playing and my ear, like almost more than transcribing a horn player in a way.
Yeah. Cause I've been really getting into conical, and I think there's something similar about speech, speech rhythm patterns going into your brain in a different way.
Yeah.
And then in terms of starting with Dexter, it's a kind of massive figure from the tradition. As a young sort of professional jazz musician, do you have a sense of? I've seen you play one time at the Traverse and Douglas and that, and it sounded great. It was like a few years ago, and coming out of college, and then it's like this sort of vista of the jazz scene or the music industry. Yeah. Do you have a sense of the kind of direction you want to go in now?
Yeah, I have probably in my life right now the clearest direction of where I want to go, genre-wise.
Yeah.
Maybe not career-wise. Well, I know career-wise I want to be playing to make the most of my money, but genre-wise I've kind of done a bit of a 180. So I still love jazz, Jazz is always going to be my first love. But I've been playing. My gigs have been I've been doing a lot of blues and a lot of rock and roll gigs, and I've been playing a lot of that. And jazz has kind of been neglected actually for the past maybe like year. Like I still play jazz occasionally, but I don't do as many jazz gigs.
Okay.
And the music that I write I'm trying to sort of create my new sort of genre of like where I can find that healthy balance between jazz and like psychedelic rock and blues and mix that all together.
That sounds cool.
So yeah, I've got 2 singles coming out very soon, and I think they kind of show what I'm trying to do with mixing jazz and different genres. But I still want it to be like contemporary, but also want to have like that old time like 60s rock sound.
Okay.
And make it really psychedelic and also jazz influenced.
That's
I have a lot of musical influences right now.
Do you have anything that we could play under this interview? Is there anything playable at this point?
No, I don't have anything released yet. I think they're getting mastered like as we speak.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah.
But nothing yet. Maybe one of them will be released by the time I do the gig.
Yeah, cool. Well, that sounds very interesting. I mean, what are there any of the sort of rock and roll blues saxophone players that you're influenced by?
I'm not really big into like the saxophone players of that time. Like when I think about, I guess like the band Traffic, they have like Chris Wood. He's the sax player and the flute player, and I really like the idea of having that like a psychedelic, like a rock band with a woodwind player. Like somebody asked me recently, what band in history would you join if you could join any band? And I thought I would love to have like been in the Doors.
Okay.
I feel like I would have been a really cool addition to the Doors with some sax and flute, something like that. Like
my son's really into the Doors. He's a musician as well. Do you know Shabaka Hutchins?
Yeah.
Because some of his stuff has got a bit of that psychedelic. Comet is Coming and things like that. Is it anything like that, or is it?
I'm pretty much just like really focused on like 60s music right now, like Hendrix and stuff like that. So I don't know. I've kind of been. My boyfriend went to RCS, but he's a big jazz, but he's a big like rock and roll like sort of like Hendrix fan, like great like rock guitarist. So that's definitely been a massive influence on me.
Fantastic.
I just feel like there's so much like music out there to check out in so many genres. It almost kind of gets a bit exhausting. To see, I like that, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna add to the list of things that I want to do, like music wise.
But if you stay in the game for the long run, there's plenty of time to go through it all. True. So you don't have to do it all in one go. But it sounds like you've got a really original. I haven't heard of many people doing that, which is exciting. And you're coming to play with us at Playtime. Have you got a sense of what you want to do musically?
I think you said that one of the things people do is everybody brings 2 tunes each. I would be up for doing that. Yeah. If that's okay, I would like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I mean, that's totally cool. I'll let everybody know, and then we'll bring a couple of tunes. And are you going to bring any sort of psychedelic rock stuff in? Because I'd love to try that. If you
I can. Is there a guitarist on the gig?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Make
Graeme
sure he's
Stephen.
got a whammy pedal then.
No, he's up for all that stuff.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's quite interesting. I think there's quite an interesting sort of overlap between experimental rock and sort of experimental jazz. So, like, I was talking. Do you know James Mackay? I was talking to him about sort of guys like James Blood Ulmer and Shani Sharrock and these kind of guys that are right on the edge of improvised music, but it's got this very heavy rock kind of vibe to it. Yeah. And I mean, definitely if you're up for it, bring some of that stuff up. We'd love to give it a go.
Definitely.
And is there anywhere that people can go to listen to your stuff before the gig? Online?
I have some videos of my band on YouTube.
Okay, so if they put your name into YouTube, you'll...
Yeah.
And is there anything from that I could play under the interview, music-wise?
Maybe it's all like from a few years ago, so I don't know if it's the best representation of what I can do now.
Okay.
But I'll have a think about it, and I'll have a look and see what it is.
Fantastic. And have you thought finally what one of the interesting decisions or big decisions that Scottish-based jazz musicians have to make is whether to stay in Scotland or whether to go somewhere else, either just temporarily for a while or to go and base themselves somewhere else. And what are your thoughts on that? Have you got any thoughts about going anywhere else? Or
I actually went to Copenhagen last year.
Okay.
And we checked out a lot of the live jazz, and that was really great. There was so many amazing musicians, and they were all so friendly, and it seemed like a really cool place for live music. And at the time, I was considering like maybe in the future I could split my time between Glasgow and there. Like I'm gonna go back and take my horn this time.
Okay.
Because it's always a bit like going to the jam and not having your horn. It's so like frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would love to go back there and explore the music scene a bit more, because I really fell in love with it when I was there. I think it could be somewhere special.
Yeah. It's expensive though, isn't it? Like
yeah, it's so expensive just for like a pint as well.
Yeah. Because I don't know how much it is now, but it was last time I was there. It was about £8 a pint. So
yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's so many interesting places to go, but also Scotland's. There's a lot of good energy in Scotland up to a point at the moment.
I love Glasgow, so I don't think I want to leave Glasgow anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on the interview, and really looking forward to playing with you in a couple of weeks. And
yeah, me too.
So send us anything you want to have music-wise that you'd like to have played. But if you want to retain your mystery, then we'll. Have you got a website or an Instagram or anything like that?
My Instagram, yeah, I can do my Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your Instagram?
It's just Rachel_Duns _.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot for making the time, Rachel, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Great.
I can't wait.